I know you're feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. Don't move too much or fight it. That'll just make it worse. Fine. If you really want to talk, I can dial it down. I've also got a gun, by the way. Oh. Well, I guess I always knew she was a survivor above all else. Don't know anything about it. No one's been around since I set up camp. But I'm sure I'm not the first vagabond to... What? No. Faking a lynching was her idea. Oh. I knew the kitten had claws, but not like this. Who ratted me out, by the way? Was it Titus? No. He wouldn't have broken first. What bunker? I saw you roll into town. I wasn't about to stick around for questioning by a goddamn la puta madre agent. How should I know? As I keep saying, he already had a bullet in his head when I got to him, and there hasn't been any useful gossip over the radio. Can't say it's a pleasure, officer. I was really hoping not to make your acquaintance. But here we are. That boy's really gotta learn to keep his trap shut. And it's not a bloody pale emitter. It doesn't emit pale. No, I didn't do it. I only helped stage the lynching, though I doubt that makes much of a difference to you. She asked me to come upstairs. The merc she'd been going with was lying on the bedroom floor, dead. I knew she couldn't get the authorities involved, so yeah. No, I really didn't. She's not that easy to read. I just assumed she'd done too much blow. It wouldn't be a first for her. But no such luck. She was in some deep shit. If you've got something really important to say, you can do it through the white noise. No, I'm not going to fucking kill you. If that had been my plan, you'd be dead already. All things considered, I'm being pretty reasonable here. Yeah, they love sending people to faraway places. Really now? Check this out. She sits down with a drink, trying to steady her nerves. So I grab a seat next to her. Nah. That I'm not planning to shoot you is the extent of the courtesy I can extend to la puta madre at present. All right, don't kill yourself over it. I was shooting the shit with Hardy and the boys over a few beers, like always. Then Klasya comes in, all pale and shuddering. I'm using a pale latitude compressor. You and your partner have been caught in its field. Precisely. This is an industrial strength paraboloid. It's meant for forcing dimensions on something that doesn't have them. Needless to say, the frequencies used are out of this world. At the upper limit is the large prime number generator station. It's used specifically for pale latitude compression. That's why you may be hearing some numbers. But you might also hear, or think you're hearing, local radio chatter. I built it myself. No, once I shut down the compressor, the pain will end. It may take a few minutes for you to steady yourself, though. It's a bit like waking out of a very confusing dream. Yeah, I stuck my head in there before using it on you. It seemed like the ethical thing to do. Can't say that I enjoyed it. The field was weaker, but I can imagine what you're going through. Right. Sure. You don't know. A pale latitude compressor is used to sort of make the pale more manageable. With a lot of these, you can force a radio signal grid on the pale, literally crunch the distance across it. Signals are relayed across a series of repeater stations fixed to buoys. Not a fun job manning those stations. All alone out there in the pale, people lose their minds in just a few years. Is that a joke or a threat? I'm guessing both. Yeah? What? War? The thought crossed my mind, but the mercenary's death was going to have repercussions either way. Although the way things are going, fuck it. I'm not responsible for these people after what they did to me. Tribunal is an awfully fancy word for what they're going to do. But yeah, I was listening to their frequency. They've finished their investigation. Now they're going to put on a show before meting out punishment. Even though those assholes gave me up, I'm worried for the boys. Yeah. The mercenaries are about to set up a tribunal and execute someone for killing Lily. I was listening in on their frequency. Even though those assholes gave me up, I'm worried for the boys. I know it's bad. Try not to move. There. I told you it's best not to move. And you, watch out for yourselves. You seem to have a habit of walking into traps. I'm guessing you don't know that a third mercenary has come to town just in time for the tribunal. Now you do. I'm asking myself that right now, too. Anyway, I'm guessing you don't know that a third mercenary has come to town just in time for the tribunal. Now you do. As I said, watch out. Oh, fuck it. Problem solving. Oh, yes, it is. Yeah, sure. I'm sure La Puta Madre himself will explain it all to you soon enough. Of you? No, not really. But she couldn't have known I was on the coast. How did you find me? My boys? What is this? I thought Titus and I had a decent collegial relationship. Oh, doesn't even matter. How can they be my boys when they're not even my friends? And those guys liked me, I know it. This is what happens to people whom people like. What? I don't even understand what you're trying to get at here. How the fuck did the rest of you get by? Oh, fuck. Took some convincing my ass. And those guys liked me, I know it. If this is what happens to people whom people like, well, fuck. And those guys liked me, I know it. If this is what happens to people whom people like, yes, you. Everyone says you're his peon, his human can opener. He was still warm, but the bluish light coming through the broken window made him look as though he'd been dead for a good long while. Who hasn't? You know, I can still see him there, in Claudia's room, lying on his side. She asked me to help her drag him into the shower so she could wind the shower head around his neck to fake lividity. Then she dressed him while I went to get the Hardy Boys. Yeah, I wasn't sure whether to admire her or be disturbed. I really don't care which one of us you think was more at fault for the lynching. Neither of us killed him, though. As I keep telling you cops, we didn't hear anything downstairs. No gunshot, nothing. The shot was made from a distance. Otherwise, we would have heard it downstairs. Besides, she had good reason not to draw attention to herself. And potentially bring attention to herself? No. Besides, the shot was made from a distance. Otherwise, we would have heard it downstairs. Saw my equations? You've been sniffing through my lorry, right? I expected as much. I am a bit surprised you knew what you were looking at. Wow. Check out the big brains on you. You're not entirely wrong. Oh, yeah. Way beyond. You're big boys. You can handle it. Stop being so damn melodramatic. Yeah, let's not talk about that shit. You were hunting me and fell into my trap instead. That's all there is to say about it. Fine. I can dial it down. I've also got a gun, by the way. God damn it. God damn it. The pail? It's the end of the world. Like what? I already told you I didn't do it. What shit? I told you I didn't do it. Sounds pretty simple to me. One of the guys seemed chipper, a blonde. The other had a brooding something or other about him. And the woman was the only one in uniform. All were carrying. That sound about right? Fantastic. I've got to get on the road. Then you can go find your friends. Unless you have anything pressing to ask me. What are you doing? I told you it's best not to move. Proximity to the pail compressor is overloading his mind. He'll be okay once it's off, though. Oh, I wouldn't have wished that upon her. The girl was playing some dangerous games. But even with what she did to me, I wouldn't have wished that upon her. I'm sad to hear that. The girl was playing some dangerous games. But even with what she did to me, I wouldn't have wished that upon her. She had some pretty messed up people after her. She's going to come out of that meat grinder a different person. If she comes out at all. But Claudia couldn't have known I was here. How did you? Look, I know this isn't very fun for you, so let's wrap this up. You have a tribunal to attend. I heard you in the passages, and I've been preparing for quite a while. So you found my shack, huh? I'm not surprised. So nice. That's one knife I didn't want to find in my back. I was. Before I caught you in the pale latitude compressor. I'm fine now. Not anymore, no. This could have turned out pretty bad for me if you hadn't walked right into 25 bands of ultra-high frequencies. Nah, she didn't crack. She's a survivor. If she told you anything, it was to save herself. I did, didn't I? And now you've come for me. Pfft. Fuck them all the same. Oh yeah, super. But I didn't think too much of it at first. I'd seen her party hard before. Yeah, in cold blood. It really surprised me how quickly she was able to get a hold of herself once we got up there. It was like she was another person. The party girl was gone. Everyone in Jamrock, the cops, the criminals. Why do you think I'm holed up in here with a goddamn death ray waiting for you? Oh, yes, they do. The cops, the criminals. Why do you think I'm holed up in here with a goddamn death ray waiting for you? Harry Dubois. One corrupt motherfucker with the disco pants and the funny tie. Agent to la puta madre. You've been to my lorry. You think the biggest player in Jamrock appreciates competition? And now I have Harry Can Opener in my lair. Fucking Titus, you know what I did. I fucked him over. And now I have Harry Can Opener in my lair. Fucking Titus. Yeah, other questions. Yeah, you had your death squad with you. What happened to them anyway? Sure you do. I bet they're just outside waiting. I guess I'll take my chances. Well, it wasn't this scrawny dude. You had 2 guys and a lady. The guys looked pretty buff. Lady wasn't bad either. I've faced worse. Well, this has been a great talk, really. But I think I'm going to hit the road now. Day of miracles. I'll take it. Glad to have been of assistance. Best of luck to you, officers. Revishal's a bitch. This could have turned out pretty bad for me if you hadn't walked right into 25 bands of ultra-high frequencies. Yes, I'm sure. And anyway, as I said before, the shot had to have come from afar. Yes, I'm sure. In fact, the shot couldn't have possibly come from the roof. Otherwise, we would have heard it downstairs. I never did understand why, when someone dies, a hothouse's worth of flowers has to die too. Nope. Plenty of broken people who don't come with that kind of body count. Besides, they're paid well for what they do. So now I'm leaving revolutionary symbols around? Come on. No, I did not. You think I was envious of his conquests? Look, pussy's not a problem for me. And definitely not a reason to off someone. I didn't like him. Hardened mercenaries aren't particularly likable types. Yeah, the girl seemed terrified. The merc was beyond caring what happened to his mortal coil. It was a no-brainer. It's very powerful. I used it to tune into RCM frequencies. That's how I knew to be prepared for your arrival. Who doesn't? Oh, you probably mean Claudia's rooftop. Sure, I've hung out there. She's got this great antenna. The view's pretty bomb, too. But you might say the antenna was the main attraction there, yeah. Along with Claudia. Sure don't. Yeah, sure. And I didn't like Wild Pines sending in those foreign hirelings. Me and a fuck ton of other people around here. My type? She's everyone's type. She's your type. Are you sure you're not the one who was excited about the peephole? No, they're not practical. Break too often. I considered her a good friend, yeah. And that's a very sentimental way of putting it. We both had pasts we didn't want to catch up with us. And we enjoyed listening to music together. Why not go on a road trip? The gun store, Trigger Happy Jacks. Never really got into weapons trafficking. Especially not old weapons. They break too often, and you don't want unhappy customers among gun collectors. What did you think? That I'm going to squeal on my gun supplier? Sorry, I'm not that kind of gal. No. Gifts of flowers and candy aren't really my style. Look, I'm not aware of any hole in Claudia's wall. And if I had been, I would have told her to get it sealed. That's what friends do. I'm not following your clever insinuations, Detective. A Nachtway AD front loader. 2-barreled. Not really what you were looking for, I'm guessing. Oh, so that's where you were going with this. Do I really seem like someone who would do something as lame as committing murder out of jealousy? Damn, that girl's pretty, but not that pretty. In fact, no one's pretty enough to waste time skulking about the whirling, drilling holes in walls. If I want to stare at a pretty girl, I can pick one up at a bar. Or, worst case scenario, look at a naughty photo. Who has time to go skulking about the whirling, drilling holes in walls? Wow. Pissing, pinball, and now peeping. I'm just not following your insinuations, Detective. Nope. Look, she has an effect on people. That je ne sais quoi that makes it impossible not to look at her when she walks into the room, and very difficult to look away. But travel enough and you realize, yeah, evidence. Man, I was with the boys the whole night. I hope they at least bothered to impress that upon you. You mean the length of a toilet break? That wouldn't even have been enough time. Yeah, and I'm sure they also made some funny remarks about it. They always do. I've driven a lot of long haul and chugged a lot of beer, man. Pfft, can't do either without some power of mind over bladder. And anyway, that wouldn't have been enough time. Wow. Now I'm curious. Please, explain. Why are you so hung up on elevators? Not murder mysteries either, if that's what you're thinking. Not particularly. Yeah, and probably some ghosts from the time of the suzerain. I'm not really interested in supernatural mysteries. I'm not really into old shit for old shit's sake. The fuck do elevators have to do with anything? Cool. They sent a ghost cop after me. Congratulations. No, not since I was 14 and hanging out in the only diner in Dardun. Haven't been into low-risk, no-reward games since moving to the city. Why? And that topic was what? Staircases? Ladders? Don't know it. But also, the shot couldn't have come from the roof. Or we would have all heard it downstairs. I'm listening. She rejected me with some wishy-washy bullshit about how she was confused because she felt so close to me and valued my friendship so much, and how guilty she felt for leading me on. I knew that wasn't the whole story, but thought, fine, I'll take it and move on. Yeah, one time when we'd both been drinking, I said some heated things about how dangerous her patterns with men were. I was a little worried she'd blow it out of proportion in her head. All the drugs she was doing can make you feel like you're living in a DeLorean tragedy. If that's what she wants on the record, so be it. I'm not about to go into details for you to jerk off to later. She does know how to pick 'em. Okay, fine. I was into her. Clausy was into me too for a time, I know it. We even fooled around once. And yeah, after that I thought maybe we could make a go of it. So, Heart of Gold Tommy fucked me over too. Never trust a musician. Pfft, that's your prerogative. Drugs don't make people abuse them. Hopelessness does. As for the drug trade, it would continue with or without me. I like to think that my efficiency as an organizer has at least prevented some internal conflicts. Man, it's to get away from all that murderous shit that I left Jamrock, my previous employer, for the union. I got lucky being a dispatcher. Never had to do any of the really dirty work myself. This gun has only been used for self-defense against serious scum. Based on what I've heard about you, you are serious scum. Nope. Look, she has an effect on people. Or had, before you sent her off in your moral lantern meat grinder. It's impossible not to look at her when she walks into the room, and very difficult to look away. But travel enough and you realize, for the same reason that she's everyone's type as an object of desire, she's not irreplaceable. Oh, so that's where you were going with this. Look, fuck you, man. I might also have stopped by the bar. No. What the hell, man? Yeah, why not? I've gotten worse. Cool, man, cool. I'm glad you got off on it. What the fuck are we talking about? Yeah, really? Not for a moment do I believe that you came here unarmed. Like fuck I did. I was in all the time. I went for a leak. 10, 15 minutes max. What the fuck, man? She's everyone's type. She's your type. Are you sure you're not the one who was excited about the peephole? You know who he is. He fucked me over. Country boy my ass. Okay, great. You got into my lorry on your own. What now? You're going to arrest me for drug trafficking? Yeah, that figures. What now? You're going to arrest me for drug trafficking? Man, it's to get away from all that murderous shit that I left the Madre for the union. Yeah? Where? I'm listening. Go ahead. It's your body. You won't get to. Your dirty little tricks won't work with me.